right, there are so many big names that are going to be on stage this morning for Abu Dhabi Finance Week. One of the biggest when it comes to, well, relatively new residents. Here is Blackrock. Richard Dean is speaking to the Chief of Investment Strategy for the Middle East.
Yeah, delighted to be here. So the organisers here say we've got $27 trillion worth of money in the room at Abu Dhabi Finance Week. About $10 trillion of that is BlackRock. Joining us now, Ben Powell of the Blackrock Investment Institute. Ben, good morning, how are you?
Very well, great to be here, carnival atmosphere, and a lot of excitement around the Finance Week as we kick it off today.
Yeah, and you're based here, so we'll get to that in a second. First of all, your investment thesis. So I'm going to challenge you on two things. First of all, you're long US stocks. I'm going to say they're too expensive. And also, you're long AI, and I'm going to say it's just hype. So tell me why I'm wrong.
I think on the second of those I feel confident. Artificial intelligence is, for us at BlackRock, is a technological transformation on the same scale as electricity and the Industrial Revolution. So I think it's almost hard to be too excited about that. It's a fundamental change, I think, not just in how economies and markets are going to function, but how we're going to exist as humans. So that's kind of big, those are big statements. But that does translate down to real companies earning real money. So this is very different. Some people sometimes draw the comparison to the late 1990s, that kind of tech boom. For us, it's a totally different kettle of investment fish. Those companies, some of them didn't even make revenue, let alone profits. These companies, the Magnificent Seven and some others, they are making extraordinary amounts of cash flow, extraordinary amounts of money, and that's good for investors from here. And to your first question, that's one of the key reasons, I guess, combined with some of the excitement around deregulation, potential deregulation from the new administration, which continue to see us stay positive US equities, even though, as you're saying, they have done quite well.
So what do we buy? Do we buy NVIDIA, which makes the shovels for this gold rush? Do we buy Microsoft? Do we buy Facebook? How do we play this?
So we would be focused, as your question implied there, on the picks and shovels. So to explain for everyone, for investment boom since time began, you can either invest in the thing or the kind of infrastructure you needed to get the thing. And quite a normal way to play a boom like this is in the so-called picks and shovels. So we would be focused on what we call the build-out beneficiaries. So we've got the Magnificent Seven spending something like $250 billion this year, Richard, on creating and building the silicon brain. It seems like magic, but it does exist in the physical realm, at least for now. So you need to have real estate. The data center needs to exist somewhere. You need power generation, you need power transmission, and the companies trying to win the AI race are spending almost whatever they can to try and win that race. So our view is you want to be the recipient of that money, you want to be the cash flow beneficiary, so we would be looking at those companies which are really geared into the build out of the silicon brain, which is already a kind of a boom, and a boom we think is going to persist for years to come.
But what happens if in 2 years' time the pharma companies realize that actually AI isn't that good at helping them develop new drugs? Or the Microsofts realize that their clients for their Azure platform aren't making loads of money and everyone stops buying NVIDIA chips? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if?
No, if artificial intelligence is a dud, we would have to review our views accordingly, Richard. I think that's true. But it just, I mean, I don't want to say it's impossible, nothing's impossible, but the concept of intelligence, for me, silicon and carbon intelligence are kind of fully fungible. So you would always, I think our view would be, you would always want more intelligence, whether you're doing something as kind of mundane as planning a family holiday, which can be stressful and kind of important at a micro level, through to running a kind of a nuclear power system. You would always want more intelligence. And at least for some years, you'd think the carbons are going to continue to play some part of that. Human life, biological intelligence will still be central, but adding more intelligence, some of which will be silicon, just seems like something which is going to run and run. So we think that's going to be a consistent driver of economic and market performance for many quarters to come.
Okay, Ben, can I ask you a more philosophical question about this? The ethics of AI. And I asked that because I was looking at your LinkedIn profile earlier, and your first degree was in not just economics, but philosophy and economics. So you've thought about the more philosophical dimensions of this. What conclusions have you come to?
Well, okay, that's a big question. So you're right, I do think about it, and it's kind of astonishing as we're watching in real time what we thought of as science fiction is now blurring into science fact almost sort of every day. And I think the social and economic consequences of AI are likely to be very, very significant. So as a society, as a parent, I've got 4 kids, I think we're all thoughtful around what this means in the bigger picture. As investors, our job is to be, how can I say, less imaginative than that, and just focus on real money and where that's flowing. So for regulators and participants of society, it's hard to exaggerate what a change this is going to drive, I think. But for investors, we're still very much focused on our knitting of where is the money flowing and who are the beneficiaries of that money.
Ben, why are you here? Again, LinkedIn profile. You've studied in the UK, you've lived in London, Hong Kong, Singapore. Now you're here with BlackRock. Would you have, 10 years ago, would you have imagined being based in the UAE with BlackRock?
It's so exciting. I mean, I really can't exaggerate how kind of positive we are about the region in the whole, I would say. So BlackRock, we're the world's largest investor by far, so we're kind of all over the place, I guess, to some degree, but we're always thinking about where we can become marginally more excited, and the Middle East is, I think, slightly talking my book, given I'm based here, but I think is towards the top of that list. So you're going to see more of BlackRock here in Abu Dhabi and here in the region in the quarters and years ahead, because we, like everyone, I think, are very positive about the regulatory backdrop, the amount of capital that's here, and frankly, we think we can be helpful to local clients as they think about their financial needs, and more of our global investors are looking to deploy capital in the region here directly as well, so we want to be helpful as best we can.
Okay, part of the role of big financial institutions like yours has been to export capital.
Yes.
People with excess capital can invest it, and guys like you will help us. What are you buying here in the UAE? What are you advising your clients to buy here in the UAE or in Saudi? We've got about a minute left, Ben.
So, well, coming back to your previous question, actually, the AI megaforce, as we call it, so BlackRock was involved in a big deal with NVIDIA, Microsoft, MGX, of course, the huge important investor here in Abu Dhabi. And that's tasked, I suppose, with leveraging as much as $100 billion to try and build out the AI ecosystem. So we're not just talking about it, I guess in a way we're actually doing it, and we think that the Middle East and the UAE, perhaps at the center here, is going to be core to the development of AI, because here we've got energy, we've got financial capital, we've got intellectual capital, and we've got permitting, which seems dull but is very important as part of this conversation. So that's an area where we are specifically excited, but I would say, Richard, our excitement is more general than that in the Middle East as a broader concept.
Ben, most important question last. Millionaires and billionaires flood into Abu Dhabi, 20,000 of them. How do we get a table at Zuma this week?
I don't know, that's beyond even mighty BlackRock, so we'll try our best. Hope to see you there.
AI is good, but it ain't that good. Ben, great talking to you, appreciate it. Ben Powell of the Blackrock Investment Institute talking to us live here at Abu Dhabi Finance Week. And we're not just here today, we're here all week, so do please join us live. Live on Dubai Eye 103.8 radio, live also, of course, across the region on Dubai One Television.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Join the conversation.